What is up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm your grateful host, Cam Williamson. I said it backwards the other day, and it was weird. It felt weird. When I listened to it back. I am your host, Cam Williamson. It's great to be back with you. Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Jury is in deliberations on day 2. A lot of people were confused because the court judge never entered the courtroom. So people, myself and other people, started discussing, is it possible they were talking about the motion for mistrial? If jury's in deliberations on day 2, you'd have to assume that the court denied that motion. So there's that. Today, we're talking about Travis Scott. All the updates with his stuff. Guys, it's not looking good for Travis Scott. Personally, right? It's not looking good for Travis Scott personally. Why do I still think that everyone is going to try to throw this back at the entertainer this time? Okay, he has a prior record of doing things like this. He's got, inciting riots, a couple things like that. There's video footage all over the internet of him assaulting his fans, encouraging people to assault his fans.
Swear to God, we go around the. Let's go! Introduction! Get that motherfucker, get him! You tried to take my shoe? You wanna be a thief? Fuck him up! Fuck him up! Fuck him up!
And let's just talk about it. That pathetic ass apology video.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need, I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, everyone to, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on.
That he gave out. And everyone, when the video first came out, goes, why is he kind of keep doing this? And why does he look so weird? He obviously looks like he doesn't care, but a body language expert came to the conclusion he was probably on some sort of substance, which is not unusual for an artist of any sort. But then we find out he went to Dave & Buster's for an after party. So I care about my fans and I love y'all so much, but I had to go. And people claim that he left this Dave & Buster's shindig early once he found out. Okay, I want to just keep it simple, right? And this is the point that I was going to make in one of the first videos and I never got around to because, spacey. I want to go back to the moment where the two men run up to Travis Scott and then they say something to him. And this is why I think the FBI has gotten involved. The FBI will find a way to figure out any stream that was going out that night. You guys notice how since the FBI got involved, all these police scanner audios are coming out, and security scanner audios are coming out, and all this different stuff is now coming out very quickly. It's because all those streams, all those frequencies that are put out, they can always be listened back to. Always. Somehow, some way, if you have that type of knowledge, which we do here in this country, in a criminal investigation, that audio can come up. Now, is that scary? Sure. Is it useful in times like now? Yes, because what's happening is you're showing the attempts, or you're hearing the attempts by Houston PD, the security staff that chose to stay in there and deal with it, because some of them didn't. You've seen the mishandling of hiring of those people. But to go back to my original point, the moment when the two men address Travis Scott on stage, and he goes, yeah, all that. And he goes, I think that's where he goes, if you're good, put 2 fingers up to the sky. And he goes, fuck it, y'all know what you came to do. And I think he kind of taps one of his boys and goes like, come on, back this way. They all start to run back into what I had called the portal, the thing he was running into. And if you listen, when Travis starts going, start the song, one of the 2 guys is going, ho, ho, ho.
Hey, all that. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, yeah, 2 hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me, let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit. Here we go. Here we go. 5, 0, 4. Put out this sound.
Now, he's kind of doing it on beat, so it might be like he's going, ho, ho, ho. I don't know. But to me, it looks like he walks up to Travis Scott, says, hey, there's some problems, man. We got to deal with this. He goes, yeah, all that. They kind of hang around the front. He taps homeboy and goes, hey, come on. Let's keep this thing going. We were supposed to run back in here, and this is what we choreographed. Let's go. And then he goes, start the song. And then you just hear the guy go, ho, ho, ho. Like, but again, you can't really tell how he's doing it, but then the 2 dudes bail off stage.
Hey, all that. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, yeah, 2 hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me, let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit. Here we go. 5, 0, 4. Put out this sound.
So whatever was said is very important. Now, do I believe those 2 dudes are going to say anything against Travis Scott's best interest? No. Absolutely not. Those 2 guys are just standing on stage to hype up the crowd and give Travis a break vocally sometimes. So they get paid to assist Travis in every way possible. Nike has pushed back the drop of Travis Scott's Cactus Jacks. I think you'd have to be a moron to pay any kind of money like that for shoes to begin with. I used to, so I've definitely used to be a moron. Not judging, but I'm just saying that's nuts. You can't do that, right? You got to drop him. I think Nike does so much damage to themselves when they try to stay on the fence of things and they go, well, let's just push this back. Because here's the thing. If Travis Scott is found like guilty of, I don't even know if there's criminal charges against him yet, but there's so many lawsuits it's hard to get through. If Travis Scott ends up being held responsible for his actions and his branding, you just push back this launch, almost saying like, maybe later. So Nike is saying, like, we see what everyone sees, and we're going to wait to see how this plays legally before we make a decision. Now, that's fine and everything, but knowing what we know, Nike, are you still willing to support this man in the future? We now have 10 people dead. How many of those people were wearing Travis Scott Nikes when they got trampled on? I mean, come on, man. Come on. It's not about money. It's about the human beings and the experience you create. That's why everyone was there. Everyone of all ages is talking about we were there for the rage. And I put this kind of together in my head, which is how this and the Kyle Rittenhouse thing fall into my scope to begin with, which is these are all kids looking for intense situations that they're not even prepared to be in. Right? Like, do any of y'all remember your first concert? And are you willing to be honest about it? Right? My first concert ever was a Spice Girls concert that my mother took me to. My second concert that I remember, I went with my cousins, who are all females, and my sister, to the Britney Spears and NSYNC concert, I believe, at Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. And then I don't believe I went to any shows unless I was playing in them. I played in a band, in a Christian rock band, so I performed at shows throughout my middle school experience. And then once I started doing that, I went to a lot of Christian rock shows and big concerts and festivals and stuff like that in the Christian sector. And then I got out of that and I went to Warped Tour, I believe somewhere in like 2007, 2006 area. I went with my sister and my cousin. Now, they're both teenagers, and I was 13, 14, I think. They're older teenagers. I went with them, and that's where I experienced a concert and like a festival for the first time. There's people just passing out monsters and condoms to anybody that'll take it. Like, it was fucking mayhem. My cousin went to the mosh pits. My sister did not. So if I wanted to do that, my cousin would let me go to the ones that were controllable enough that I could experience it but not get hurt. So right there, my cousin had tons of experience with concerts and festivals. That was her thing. So right there, you're showing it can be done. It can be done. To my knowledge, no one got stomped out or killed at that concert. I'm not saying people didn't fall dead of dehydration or drug overdoses. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they didn't get killed by others in the group. All right. I think we've all pretty much dissolved the whole it's the fault of the crowds thing, right? Because the crowd is saying, even from the back, I had this kid on my shoulders. I had someone who was critical of me because I was critical of the father. I saw the interview with the father who had the small boy on his shoulders. I feel bad for him, right? So here's my thing. I have to make a decision when I leave the house. This is where I'm choosing to take my kids. So in that event, I have to take all precautions that I might see necessary. Right? If I get there and anything is not what we expected out of safety concern, we gone. We're not talking about it. We're not going to discuss it right now. We'll talk about it in the car, but we're getting the fuck out of here. I'm only talking for me. So if it sounded judgmental when I said that father should be responsible for the death of his son, what I mean is he's going to think about this forever, obviously. Is there any harder way to learn a lesson? No. Is any court case that comes against him for child neglect or anything like that, is that going to punish him any more than what happened? No. So I'm not talking about that. When I say he should be held responsible, I mean, as parents, we have to hold ourselves responsible for the things we allow our kids to be influenced by and the things that we allow our kids to be around. I mean, for God's sakes, how into Travis Scott is a 9-year-old kid? How into him can he really be? Come on, man. We got to stop giving people easy ways out. And I know that this is not my most popular time right now online. A lot of people are giving me hell about the Kyle Rittenhouse case and my thoughts on that. Sorry you don't like it. Sorry that I don't just give in when people call me dumb or whatever. Sorry. If we're at such an influential time in our lives right now, and in this country especially, where all this knowledge is being shared and all this communication is being had, understand, I'm not asking anyone to pick sides. I'm only giving my observation on these situations. A lot of people are asking, should Drake be held responsible? To my knowledge, Drake was on the stage during the beginning portion of people starting to fall out. Am I right on that? So I think even in Travis's spot where he claimed responsibility was when he addresses it and then tells the crowd to go on. Also, Drake has never incited violence or chaos at his shows. That's not Drake's brand. So, even Sicko Mode is kind of, for Drake, it was a dope song, but you're like, all right, come on, Drake. Like, we like you for the sad boy stuff. Come on. Let's. But again, in the time in music, Drake, sorry, my nose is running a little bit. Drake and Travis Scott live on two polar kind of opposite sides of hip hop, so they clash, make tons of money. And I don't even know if Drake was advertised to be there or if that was a surprise. But if then the surprise causes the chaos, you would still then have to be responsible for that because you would have to prepare for the surprise you're going to give the audience. Right? You can't just set off pyrotechnics everywhere and then be like, fuck it, sorry, it's a show. Sorry you got burnt. You have to control what you're going to do, what the effects could be. If you didn't plan and if you cut corners in so many different ways to try to end up with the highest income at the end, well, that's on you. Who's going to end up making the money from that? From the promotion side, from Live Nation and all that. Promoters have to take responsibility for the acts that they promote. You are selling the service of taking this and pushing it out to the public. You're telling the artist, I have that ability. That's why they're hiring you. So you then take responsibility for the message you put out or help them put out. Now, the argument has come up, if the promotion can be held responsible, then can YouTube be held responsible when someone tells someone to do some crazy shit? Because they allowed it on their platform. They allowed the distribution to happen, which usually that gets tied up in what you agree to when you sign up for their terms of service and what they see as deemable and not agreeable. Which would also probably fall into Travis and Live Nation's contract, which this isn't their first concert. This isn't their first disaster. So they've learned from the past. And we all notice we haven't heard much from Live Nation. So I'm guessing that they have a lawyer sitting very comfortably, getting paid on retainer right now, going, oh, this dummy doesn't know. He signed a clause saying that if you hype this crowd up to do wild shit, you're responsible for that. Because we learned from that. Now, I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying when businesses, especially promotional companies, lose a shitload of money on something that they promoted, they're going to make sure they don't do that a second time if they want to survive. I stand on a firm 2 feet in my stance of I think Travis Scott is going to be held legally responsible for this. The question differs, do I think he's going to do jail time for this? What would you get it? What would you get him on? 3rd-degree reckless manslaughter, if that even exists? He didn't physically put his hands on somebody, so that takes away. And he didn't shoot anybody. He didn't assault anybody, so that takes away first. 2nd degree, he didn't help anyone. He didn't assist in the pushing. He didn't assist physically in the trampling. So that would take away 2nd degree. 3rd degree would be in you planned it or you helped planned it. Okay. He definitely was a part of planning it. But then you go, can't do homicide because he didn't kill anyone. Manslaughter, the death of a person. Okay, we have that. But then you would have to get reckless because it wasn't intentional. So 3rd degree reckless manslaughter. I don't see that standing. You're reaching so far already just for a charge. I don't see any state, including his home state, picking up the charges on that. So what I see more is he's going to lose his bankroll, which is backed by the Jenners and the Kardashians, so he's fine. He's going to lose his Travis Scott, Cactus Jack, AstroWorld, anything related bankroll that he's got. If Nike continues to just wait it out, he'll probably build it back up once all this is over and legal decisions are made and Nike's pansy ass decides which side of the fence they want to support. But my message is not for Nike, and it's not for Travis Scott. It's for the people that listen and support these type of people and businesses and stuff. Let's not do that. If you don't agree with it. Now, if you think Travis Scott is completely in his right to brand what he brands, to who he brands it to, Fortnite dropped him to my understanding. McDonald's dropped him, to my understanding. I don't think they had the meal going, but I think McDonald's clearly stated, like, yeah, we're not doing that. So people that distributed him to small children are starting to take responsibility. That's good. Mission accomplished then, right? We just have to continue it. We have to keep that going. We all know, I relate to it a lot on this show. I call it like asking someone to buy a Bible on Wednesday. More than likely, you might get a no, but if you ask them right after service on Sunday, they'll probably buy that Bible. Get them while they're emotional. We care. A couple days, weeks later, we're like, and then he puts out, time passes, we're pissed off at other people. Randomly one day you hear a song come on that you can't really tell who it is, which is most of their shit anyway. And you're like, God damn, fucking banging. Who is that? Travis who? Wasn't that like, didn't he do something like two years ago? Fucking this song's banging. And you just keep going. A month later, 6 months later, oh shit, Travis Scott's coming to town. Remember he did that thing back in like, I bet they figured that out. Come on, let's go. And then people want to be mad at me because I'm not addressing a Pearl Jam incident that happened where people died because Pearl Jam is white and Travis Scott is black. Why people want me to pull race into everything is fucking insane to me because guess what? Travis Scott was wearing a Pearl Jam t-shirt the morning of AstroWorld Festival. So your argument, did you see it take off there? It's gone. Fuck off. We're trying to make this racist. Fuck off. We're trying to make this a racial divide. In every single case. Mention how I'm not talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case. That one is packed with racial They're going crazy because there's pastors or spiritual leaders in the room. It's crazy. There was supposed to be. Now, I want to be careful. Because we're finding out with all this communication going on, all the knowledge being shared, we are finding out how vague we have been our whole lives. Right? We've known our whole lives what? Separation of church and state. What does that mean? What does that mean? Are you not allowed to have spiritual advisors, whatever you call them, in the room while you're being tried? If one of the victims feel supported by that, victims' families feel supported by that. We got one judge you're not allowed to call them victims. So like in Ahmaud Arbery's situation, he would not be allowed to be called a victim. He would have to wait. So I would be interested to see how Judge Schroeder in Kyle's situation would handle. I don't think that would go well. I think he would probably boot that, because he said, I'm not going to make this about race. But I haven't seen him kick any of Kyle's supporters out, or I haven't seen him kick any of like the, I don't know what you want to call them if you can't call them victims, the people he shot's supporters around out. So I don't know. It's so hard. Like, I don't have a problem with them being in the courtroom, especially if they're being quiet. If you're not breaking any rules of the court, then there's no reason, and it's open to the public, well then, yeah, they can be there. You're trying to start shit where there's not shit, because the overwhelming support of the community, I guess, is spilling into the courtroom, as in there's not as much people, there's no people coming in, standing behind these three men that are charged for what they did. Well, that's not really the defense's problem, is it? They're not there to console somebody who lost a son or something. I don't know the exact details of the case, but I know it's very complicated when you got dudes running around thinking they're deputized. I know you still have armed versus unarmed. You guys can go to the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff and see my opinions on that. Complicated times. We are setting precedents all over the place for how we are going to move forward. I was talking to my wife about that this morning. In the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, right? So if Kyle's found innocent in this case and people start to riot, there's going to be more people like Kyle Rittenhouse grabbing ARs now thinking and knowing they'll be found not guilty, and they're going to go patrol the streets. And if anything comes down to it, now the details are so important, but we're going to go encourage this type of behavior, which is what we wanted to stop in the first place, I thought, which was the unlawful damage of stuff. And how does that unlawful damage of stuff doesn't equate to taking human life? It's not the same. I'm not saying there's not a day in court for unlawful damage of stuff. I'm not saying that. But what the fuck, man? Travis Scott, that case is going to dictate how concerts everywhere around the world, not just concerts, comedy events, everything are put on going forward. It's going to be like TSA after September 11th when you go anywhere now. Guarantee, and it should be. Because negligence gets people killed. I love you guys very much. Again, this is not about division. I don't ever want my show to be about division in any way. I don't encourage that. I don't like to see it in my comment sections. I try not to block people. I try not to delete comments. I delete them if they're really fucking ignorant and you're talking hateful and shit. I'm not going to put up with that. You call me stupid names, or you use the emojis I use against other people on me. That's fine. I'll leave that all day long. If you're just insulting me, calling me dumb, I'm not going to engage with that because it's not worthy of engaging with. And you'll notice in my comment sections on all my platforms, if we're having a conversation, no problem. I'll talk. The second it comes down to, well, you're fucking stupid because you're a pussy or whatever, I'm out. We're not having a conversation. You're just insulting me because of who you think I am. Well, I don't care who you think I am. We're talking about this situation. People can't do that. So again, if you can't do that, stay off social media because you don't deserve to be on there. Right? If we can't just not be hateful, which is the whole fucking point of the issues that are spilling over into the streets, if you can't not be hateful on social media and then you're justifying hateful shit anywhere, whether it be burning down property or people shooting each other in the streets over what are we justifying? Please explain to me what we're justifying in all this. I can't. I got nothing. Love you guys so much. Unless there's some breaking news on, which there will be. I think we'll know a verdict on the Rittenhouse case. That'll probably be my next video. If you guys are following me because of the AstroWorld stuff, I hope you enjoy my take on it, but there's really no progression in that one. It's just a bunch of stuff coming out, which I am following as much as I can, but I've been steadfast in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, just trying to learn as much as I can and watch every piece of second of the trial. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the support. If you're giving it, if you're being a hateful fuck, sorry your life is miserable. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.